Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
For those who are living in limbo, waiting desperately to learn the fate of a loved one, especially to families of the hostages, you're not alone. We're working with partners throughout the region, pursuing every avenue to bring home those who are being held captive by Hamas. I can't speak publicly about all the details, but let me assure you, for me, as the American president, there's no higher priority than the release and safe return of all these hostages.
And he did it. It's done. Not all of them, but we got two. Got two hostages out of there today. They are in the custody of an Israeli general right now, a former Israeli general, I should say, who has met the mother and the daughter. I think you've seen their photograph. It's Judith and Natalie Ranan. They're Americans. They're from Chicago. And apparently the mom, Judith, I guess, she was feeling very poorly. And the Qataris, at the behest of Joe Biden and the Americans, were able to negotiate her release. And so now Hamas is crowing about how this makes Biden look bad because they keep their word or whatever. But yay us, you know. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened just between the time I got up this morning and now. It's incredible. This morning, freaking Jim Jordan, this lunatic, a bully of a piece of dung, actually made me get up at like 7 o'clock so I could have coffee and then watch his 8 a.m. press conference. Really? Why did he do that to every reporter in D.C.? I mean, it's not like we don't have anything to watch here. It's not like Israel and Gaza is 7 hours, ahead of us. I mean, but no, he calls everybody to cover him because he likes to be on the TV. Yeah, because this press conference of his had absolutely no point to it whatsoever. But everybody had to show up for him. Everybody had to point cameras at him. Everybody had to shove microphones in his face. So he could tell us absolutely nothing about anything. And then he submitted himself again as the Republican Party's nominee for Speaker of the House. And they voted a third time. And this time he did worse than the previous two times. The time last was Wednesday? He lost by 22 votes. And you can only lose by 4. He lost by 22. The first time when he held himself out as possible Speaker of the House, like the best pick that the GOP had, he lost by 20 votes, can only lose 4. And today he lost by 25 freaking votes. It's getting worse, not better. And you know why? First of all, there are a ton of Republicans who are finally, growing a spine. It's like they're coming out of their ferrethood and they're becoming like bipeds now. They're actually developing, a vertebrae and, a spine to go with it. It's pretty amazing. But you know why that's happening? It's happening because the threats are being made now to their family members. One of them, Kim Buck, a Republican from Colorado, said not only was he getting threatening emails and threatening phone calls in his offices, but he was evicted from his Colorado district office by an irate landlord who didn't like that he wasn't voting for Jim Jordan. And so he canceled his lease on his district. I mean, this is crazy. And then CNN got hold of a audio tape that is hair-raising. I mean, it's just who they are. It's what they do. I mean, these are the Republicans that are still like ultra MAGA. All they know how to do is bully and threaten and terrorize. I mean, we have terrorists in this country too. We have people who are ate up with hostility, rage, anger, threats. That they literally will call somebody's wife and threaten somebody's wife because they don't like that Jim Jordan is unsuitable to be the Speaker of the House for any number of reasons. Any number. One, He's a legislator who never legislated anything. He's never introduced a piece of legislation. He's never gotten anything, through Congress. He hasn't got anything to show for his 16 years in Congress, okay? He does fake impeachment hearings where his own witnesses come and testify, you got nothing over here. I don't even know what we're doing here because you got nothing. We got nothing. I got nothing to offer you. I got no evidence. I got no proof of any wrongdoing here. I just don't. So why are you asking me questions under oath that in front of the whole world? It's making you look stupid. It's making you look bad. Jonathan Turley even. Well, I have no proof that Biden did anything. I mean, it's pretty sad and it's pretty sick. Okay, but on top of that, this is a guy who John Boehner, the previous Speaker of the House, called a legislative terrorist. Now, why would John Boehner call Jim Jordan a legislative terrorist? Because you have serious people in Congress who most bills are created and worked through and agreed to in committees. That's what committees do. They do the hard work of legislating or creating a tax plan or tax, a bill that they hope to, like the tax cuts for the wealthy. That happens in the Ways and Means Committee. Then you got the Appropriations Committee, and they come up with suitable sums of money for our awesome giant defense outfits, right? And they don't pay for it, never. Tax cuts, they don't pay for it. But this is what they do. And it's hard work. And then Jim Jordan would come along, and Jim Jordan would make sure that he corralled enough Republicans to kill that hard work that the appropriators did, or to kill that hard work that the legislators did, or to kill that hard work that the Ways and Means Committee did, or to, kill anything the Rules Committee came up with, or whatever. Anything that would move us forward, Jim Jordan, made sure died. Because this radical caucus of Gates and McCarthy and Jordan and Biggs and these people are interested in one thing and one thing only, and that is killing off democracy. Yeah, this is what they're interested in. And why would that be? Well, I think we've explained this 18,000 ways, and people understand it. I know, and when I say it, you'll go, that's right. Okay, the reason why. Because if Donald Trump can't have America, then nobody can. Occam's razor of explanations. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Because if Donald Trump can't have it, nobody can. They're going to burn it to the ground. And we've been saying this since Donald Trump was forced to leave the White House. Forced to leave and stole secrets and documents. Oh, and speaking of Donald Trump's, sycophants and his, guilty little band of thieves. So today, we're supposed to have a trial in Fulton County, Georgia next week. This was the Fani Willis's RICO charges against 19 individuals. And we had two of them that peeled off, right? You had Sidney Powell and Ken Cheesebro, who peeled off and said they wanted a speedy trial. They wanted it as fast as possible. And Georgia guarantees that within a certain amount of days. And so October 23rd was going to be the start of the trial for Powell and Cheesebro. Now, Cheesebro is, he was charged with felonies to submit false documents, the fake electors, and blah, 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 right? And so he pled guilty today. Yeah. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. We've got two hostages from Chicago back in the hands of, a democracy and their government, safe, sound, not a hair, harmed on their heads. And we got two guilty pleas in the last 2 days, one from Sidney Powell and one from Cheesebro, both pledging in exchange for the plea arrangement to testify in word and document against Donald Trump and his merry band of thieves who tried to steal a free and fair election. So that's good, right? But no trial. Sorry. I had my heart set on a trial. I did. But no trial. No. Not at least for these two that wanted the speedy trial. It's off. It's done. It's not happening. Because they pled guilty. So that's amazing. Okay, we have more on the Jordan thing. Wait.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, buy a stinking podcast here.
Part of the reason that there's temper right now is this constant barrage of phone calls. I have 6 full-time people answering the phones. I have 20,000 messages from people where we couldn't. So far, I've had 4 death threats. I've been evicted from my office in Colorado. I have notice of an eviction. Because the landlord is mad with my voting record on the speaker issue. And everybody in the conference is getting this. So it's natural. Family members have been approached and threatened. All kinds of things are going on. There's going to be some tension. 4 death threats, Congressman, because you're not supporting Jim Jordan? That's right.
What kind of freaks of nature do that? I don't get my way, so I call you up and I threaten you and I threaten your family. What are you, Hamas? I mean, honestly, the idea that Jim Jordan had the votes, he never had the votes. This is crazy. This is madness. And he just was doing this, putting his name forward, and they were nominating him over and over and over again. And if you think that they expected a different result each time, they didn't. I don't know why Jordan was willing to, sublimate himself and, genuflect and be made into a loser, mathematically provable loser. I don't know why he was willing to do it, except to say that they really, really want to destroy America. They really want to destroy it from within. The insurrection that he knew about that he didn't tell anybody about so that it would happen, and perhaps his dear leader would be able to rig an election, and, the idea that they would hang Mike Pence, or the idea that they were hunting Nancy Pelosi. He knew all this, okay? This is their guy. This is their nominee. This is the one they wanted. And why would you pick a guy like that? Because they are a bunch of terrorists, and they really do wish us ill. They really do want to harm our country, and they know that the best position to be in to harm our country is inside. I mean, it's like they, when you look at Hamas, okay, and you just want to understand what's going on over there, just remember this all the time. Hamas is not the people. Hamas is the government. Hamas is the military. Hamas is the government. I don't know how else to say it. They're not, a democracy. So it's not like they have a House of Representatives and a Senate or anything. But, this is what goes on. And they want to be Hamas inside the United States. They literally want to do terror. They literally want to tear this country limb from limb. And that's why Jim Jordan was their pick. That's why why was Kevin McCarthy objected to by Matt Gaetz? Why? Because he worked with the Democrats to pay the bills. He worked with the Democrats to keep the government open because the Republicans wouldn't. They would not. And so that's why they decided to vote to vacate Kevin McCarthy from the speaker's chair. And they left it empty, and they didn't have a plan for another speaker, and that was fine because they didn't intend to do any work. They didn't intend to honor any agreement. They didn't want a bipartisan bill-paying deal. So they went after the guy who reached across the aisle after trying, and I can't believe I'm defending Kevin McCarthy on any level, but okay. And then they picked Jordan, and Jordan is like the most disgusting human being. Fake impeachment hearings, chairman of the never ever passed a piece of legislation in his life in 16 years, not ever, not one single thing. Created a freaking committee called the weaponization of government, which is exactly what they're doing. I mean, it's just it's so bizarre. Okay, and Ken Buck isn't the only one who got threats. Okay, CNN got hold of I suspect I know which member of Congress this is, and it's not Ken Buck's family, but, it doesn't even matter anymore. You don't want to say because you don't even want to put anybody's family in harm's way. But listen, I'll just play you one of these phone calls, okay? One of them. You've heard the death threats that, Adam Schiff got. You heard the death threats that, Jamie Raskin got. You heard the death simply because they were able to show that January 6th was, something that they knew about. And there were fake electors. And, Liz Cheney was able to say Jim Jordan was, the person who knew the most about it, right?
Jim Jordan knew more about what Donald Trump had planned for January 6th than any other member of the House of Representatives. There was a handful of people, of which he was the leader, who knew what Donald Trump had planned.
Okay, and so that handful of people are the handful of people that are vacating the speaker seat, right? These are the people that don't want government to do anything. They want to like bar government from governing. They want to put a hold on government. I told you, think about it like Mitch McConnell did with the Supreme Court. When Obama was still going to be president for 11 more months, Mitch McConnell put a hold on any confirmation hearings even to fill that Supreme Court seat, right? And we thought that was pretty disgusting, and that was pretty underhanded, and that was pretty gross, and that was hobbling America from, doing its business. But this is the House of Representatives. This is paying our bills. This is basic stuff. This is entry level, I'm a bill on Capitol Hill kind of, a Schoolhouse Rock kind of business. And they don't want even that to be done, right? And this is what they're willing to do to their own members, to their own caucus members.
We have some exclusive audio right now of a threatening message that was left as a voicemail for the wife of one of the Republican lawmakers who opposes Jordan. This has only been edited to take out identifying information of the wife and the lawmaker. We've bleeped out some of the language, but not all of it. And I want to warn you, this is pretty ugly stuff.
Yeah,
take a listen.
It is.
Why is your husband such a pig? Why would he get on TV and make an fool of himself? Because he's a deep state prick? Because he doesn't represent the people? So what we're going to do is we're going to come follow you all over the place. We're going to be up your ass nonstop. We are now Antifa.
What?
We're going to do what the left does because your of a husband gets on TV. Oh, the bad guys, they did so. I'm going to vote for Kevin McCarthy, a piece of shit who everybody knows, and for his piece of shit ass talk about Americans who are actually fighting for Americans as the bad people, says everything about him. So you, your husband, and we're not like the left. We aren't violent, but we're going to follow your ass, every appointment you have, everything you fucking do.
They sound really nice. Antifa, really? And crazily, this caller sounds a little bit like if you crossed McCarthy with Jim Jordan, that's kind of what I imagine their love child would sound like. I don't know. But we're not violent. We're just going to follow you around. We're just going to intimidate you. We're going to be up your effing, bunda. We're going to be up your butt. What is wrong with it? And what did they think was going to happen? She was going to turn to her husband and go, he's right. You are a piece of dung, and you need to vote for Jim Jordan, the insurrectionist. You need to vote for the terrorists. See, because they're on the phone now.
To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
At every step of the way, Republicans have rejected bipartisanship and embraced extremism. Jim Jordan is a clear and present danger to our democracy. He wants to end Social Security as we know it. He wants to end Medicare as we know it. Doesn't believe that President Biden was elected in 2020. That's disrespectful to the American people. Jim Jordan wants to impose a nationwide abortion ban, and he is the poster child for MAGA extremism.
It's true, and to hear the words come out of a very moderating person, not moderate, but a moderating person, a person who seeks to tamp down the extremism, tamp down the vitriol, tamp down the threats that members get because of guys like Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz and Biggs and Mo Brooks and that whole crowd of Jewish space laser Soros conspiracy theorists who now love Israel, which is crazy. But, he tries to, offer solutions to difficult problems that the Republicans keep creating because of their extremist ideology. They won't reach across the aisle to get a couple of votes to pay the bills of the United States when the world is on fire. Why not? What is the big damn deal? Unless you're turning, Democrats into, I don't know, some sort of traif, right? Democrats into some sort of, an infidel. Democrats into some sort of person that, needs to be removed from polite society by force, by violence, threaten them. I mean, what the hell is that? What kind of attitude is that? What, at first you don't, if at first you don't succeed, threaten again? Is that the mantra of the governing party that is the majority in the United States House of Representatives? Really? Is this their platform? Violence as a way forward? It's horrendous. It's ugly. It's fugly. And, Jim Jordan, I swear to God, he was asked this morning, like, are you just going to keep doing this again? This is what we all had to get up for, okay? Everybody that, follows the news or reports the news or, was looking to see what was going to happen today. Because, Joe Biden had the most magnificent speech last night. He's making me very, very proud of our country again. Truly. He is making America great again. I swear. It's an amazing thing. He's been explaining how the United States is the indispensable nation in the world. And that it's not just because we lead, but it's because of our values. And people look at us and they say, I want that. I want what they have. I want, even in the face of threats and bullies and extremism, they actually let people speak. They let people rage. That as long as no violence is included, once you step over the line and you start harming other people, you start hurting other people, you start, hunting other people or breaking windows, even doing property crime, that's where the line is. That's where the line is. But we will listen to somebody who makes our blood boil all day long because we believe that everybody has the right to speak, whether you agree with them or not. Well, they don't believe that. They think that if you speak with your vote or you speak with your words on the floor and you don't vote the way they want you to vote, you don't vote for who they want to win, then you should be targeted. You should be eliminated. You should be somehow, removed from polite society. You shouldn't be able to function. You shouldn't be able to have a microphone. You shouldn't be able to broadcast. You're fake. You're fake, and you need to be trolled, and you need to be threatened, and you need to be abused, and you need to be, bullied. And really, this guy is such a freaking loser. And they all went to town on him. They all threw in with him. And then this morning, I mean, after Biden was so presidential last night, I mean, he tried to explain to the entire world who's watching. You know that. The entire world is watching us. And the entire world is looking at the Republican Party. And for those of you who say, this never would have happened if Trump were president, the entire world is looking at your Republican Party. And they are figuring out that your Republican Party is so unable to do basic things, basic business in the United States, that now might be a great time to take advantage of the vulnerability that is America. Because of the Republican Party. Because of their extremist attitude, because of their ineffectiveness, because of their recalcitrance about doing the daily work of a legislator. They don't want to have anything to do with anything meaningful that is part of their job description. All they want to do is, shake things up. All they want to do is get their way. All they want to do is impede, any business getting done in the United States and send a message to people like, Vladimir Putin or, the Ayatollah that America is ripe for the picking. Okay, just take it. Take it now. Nobody's on that wall. There's no appropriations going out the door. What is wrong with these people? And, when you ask Matt Gaetz, aren't you embarrassed about what your party is doing? No,
You may not get Jim Jordan as Speaker. You may get someone more moderate. What did you actually get for leading this charge to push out Kevin McCarthy?
We're shaking up Washington, D.C. We're breaking the fever. And you know what? It's messy. But the only reason people think there's chaos in this town right now is because the special interests aren't in control anymore. So I think we're going to have an upgrade at the position of Speaker of the House. For me, it was never about any one person. It was about ensuring that we got an upgrade at the position. Kevin McCarthy had failed us. He'd made multiple contradictory promises. We weren't really governing under McCarthy. Everybody's making this big deal out of the fact that we've burnt the equivalent of 4 legislative days on all of this. But I mean, we've spent like 7 legislative days on post offices and procedural votes, for goodness sakes. This is what it's supposed to be. And it's not clean and it's not orderly. And the lobbyists and the special interests hate it. But I don't seem to mind too much.
They're paying you, so shut up. I mean, that's a lie. He's not doing this because of lobbyists and special interests. The Supreme Court is completely purchased. So is he. I mean, who is he kidding with this garbage, okay? He's doing this because he really is invested in the idea that if Donald Trump can't have America, then nobody can. Nobody can. And they're putting a hold on governing until they get their dear leader. They're putting a hold on appropriations. They're putting a hold on paying bills that we've already spent the money, but they don't want to, pay the bill. This is so ridiculous that one person or a group of, the tyranny of the minority is able to literally vacate the chair with no plan to go forward, no plan of who should be. This morning they all announced that they're not going to, after Kevin McCarthy failed the 3rd time and he's mathematically proven to be a loser. They said, okay, we'll nominate somebody else. What do you mean you will? Yeah, we'll get around to it. Today? No, we're going home. What? Yeah, we're going home. We'll let you know maybe Sunday, for Monday, like who we might pick. Well, you didn't have a backup plan for McCarthy. You don't have a backup plan for Jordan? No. Aren't you supposed to be legislators? And aren't you supposed to... Yeah, well, we'll let you know. We got a long list of people, and we'll take one of them out for a little ride on Monday and see how they do. What?
It's the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
What do you say to those who believe Democrats are to blame for the situation that we're in, since you all voted with those 8 Republicans to oust McCarthy?
Well, the job of the House Republicans is to elect a speaker who can get to 218 votes and to sustain a speaker at 218 votes. That is the job of the majority from the very beginning of the republic, going back to 1789. And by the way, who created Jim Jordan? Who normalized Jim Jordan? Who was about to nominate? Who was about to nominate Jim Jordan? That's clear.
And are you okay if they were to go ahead and elect a speaker pro tem, as they did in the early 60s after Speaker Ray Burns, so the House could operate? I mean, that's what you're saying here, that type of option is on the table, and that's something you'd be okay with because of the...
What we're saying is that all options are on the table to get the House back open so we can do the business of the American people.
And is McHenry the only name that's in that conversation? Is McHenry the only name that's in that conversation? No. Who are the other names that is it Steve Womack? Are there other names? Can we just kind of get into detail?
I think you've got to ask the other side of the aisle who they're willing to put forward.
Really? Why are you asking him?
If every Democrat went to the floor and they voted for a Republican today, you could probably find a handful of Republicans who would join you organically in that moment. Would you take that step today?
Voted for a Republican to be Speaker of the House?
Yes.
We'd have to have a real conversation about what that would look like.
Is that a challenge because your side, obviously there are some on your side who just have such antipathy for Republicans that they could not potentially do that?
No, let's be clear. Let's be clear. We have said repeatedly for the last 2 weeks that we are ready, willing, and able to find a bipartisan path forward to enter into a partnership with our Republican colleagues to reopen the House, to get the business of the American people done, to solve problems for hardworking American taxpayers. We just need some traditional Republicans to join us. Instead of rejecting bipartisanship, they need to stop embracing extremism.
I mean, honestly, how is this our fault? I don't even understand how this became the Democrats' fault. They can't pick a speaker who could get 218 votes. They have the majority in the House of Representatives. They hold all the committee chairmanships because that's the way the rules of the House work. They can't find anybody who's palatable to their own Republican members, and somehow it's Hakeem Jeffries' fault. What? You know, they're always victims, everybody. They're always being victimized. It's, it's just a little thing in their playbook. Like, we can't pick a speaker. We can't get somebody confirmed. We can't get our caucus together. We can't hold everybody, to the same, deal. Everybody doesn't agree that an insurrectionist who covered up, a sexual assault of, wrestling team members by the school physician for like 20 years is suitable to be the leader of the House, a guy who knew about the insurrection and did nothing, a guy who is holding a fake impeachment hearing against the President of the United States of America while the world is on fire. We don't find him suitable in our own party, and somehow it's Hakeem Jeffries' fault. It's just, really? What the hell is that about? You got threatening phone calls going to Republicans' wives. Republicans are being kicked out. I don't know what's going on with landlords in this here country, but at the beginning of the week, when all this this crazy stuff happened, over in Israel and this terrorist attack and blah, 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 and people were talking about now we're at war. You have right-wing radio sycophants, people who were listening to, crazy talk on right-wing radio. This is why, when I was off the other day, it's all I did was listen to right-wing radio to see what the hell they were telling their crazy people. And, a man who was a landlord outside of Chicago decided that he would stab to death a 6-year-old boy, a 6-year-old baby boy. And his mother, he didn't kill the mother, but he killed this boy simply because they were Palestinian Americans. Okay. And he said he listens to right-wing radio and he believed that was the right thing to do. I mean, these are some crazy mofos, okay, and violent on top of it. And somehow their inability to do their job as the majority is our fault. What? And every one of them are always the victim. Donald Trump is always the victim. Donald Trump, it's the crazy judge, or it's the judge with the Mexican father. He can't judge me fairly because his dad's from Mexico. And what does Donald Trump say about any of this? He tells his right-wing lunatic fringy people, the guy who killed a 6-year-old boy, that he doesn't denounce it. He doesn't say that that's violence that we should not experience in this country and that children are children and they're all in it. No, you know what he said? He said, elect him and he will make a new Muslim ban, a worse Muslim ban, a Muslim ban that's like airtight. You will not have any Muslims in this country. I don't know if he intends to deport. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what it is. But this is how they, rage up the sycophants. This is what they do. They feed them. When they're doing bad things, they say, don't worry, I see that, and I'm not denouncing it. Do you hear me denouncing it? I'm not denouncing. No, I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm your guy. I'm telling you, I'll fix this for you. I know that you're raging against, certain groups of people. And I'll make it so that you don't even have to cross their path. They will never cross your path. You'll never have to experience them. You will never have to see them. You will never have to cope and deal with them. I will do whatever it takes to keep you away from them, us and them, because I've been victimized too. What? Your son-in-law got $2.2 billion from the Holy Land of Islam. From Saudi Arabia is the Holy Land if you are Islamic. It's just, there's no getting around it. Mecca and Medina are the two holiest sites in all of Islam, and they're in Saudi Arabia. Third holiest site is the Al-Aqsa Mosque in outside of Jerusalem. And these right-wing lunatic fringy, the fringy people, they're always sticking the knife in, trying to agitate, and cause violence in communities all over the world. I can't. Listen, for me, if there wasn't a possibility of like three different things, right? If it wasn't a possibility that Donald Trump could be president of the United States again, I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu was kicked out of office in '99, and he returned 10 years later like a bad freaking salami. Just keeps on revisiting and, repeating. If I didn't think that Donald Trump could possibly somehow be president of the United States again, I think I would call it a day. But I also know that we're probably staring down some sort of a war. I don't know, like how large. What I can tell you is that the Qataris who were able to negotiate the release of these 2 American hostages today, not only have they shown that they can get stuff done, which is good, for our benefit, but it also may send a message to the right-wing freaks and, that is the Netanyahu Likud party, that there are hostages inside of Gaza that might be able to come out. So don't go in yet. It might actually put a little pause on the ground war that is about to occur. Because, like I said at the beginning, I had heard that they don't give a damn in the right wing of, Benjamin Netanyahu's party, that there were hostages still inside. They didn't care. They were like, well, we're raging and we have to go in. Well, what about the hostages? Well, it might be their time to sacrifice for their country. What? You're talking about children. You're talking about elderly people. You're talking about one lady, I believe she has dementia. They didn't care. They are literally without any empathy, sympathy, or ability to make meaningful things occur that would benefit them. They leave it to us to figure out how do we do stuff that benefits you and me. How do I do that? And it's always up to me. It's always up to me. And then if you offer a compromise, if you offer a way out, if you offer a solution, if you offer a pause, if you offer some logic and reason, and you show them that it's in your best interest to do it this way too, just, do a little bipartisanship, do a little horse trading here. That's your job, right? You'll get fired for doing that. That's what Kevin McCarthy did to keep the government open, right? He crossed the aisle and he got Democrats to vote with him to keep the government open. And they literally stuck a shiv in his back for bipartisanship. And they don't want to be called extremists. They want to blame Democrats for being bipartisan. What?
Mary had a little man. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
I know these conflicts can seem far away, and it's natural to ask, why does this matter to America? So let me share with you why making sure Israel and Ukraine succeed is vital for America's national security. History has taught us that when terrorists don't pay a price for their terror, when dictators don't pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos and death and more destruction. They keep going, and the cost and the threats to America and the world keep rising. So if we don't stop Putin's appetite for power and control in Ukraine, he won't limit himself just to Ukraine. Putin's already threatened to remind Poland that their Western land was a gift from Russia. One of his top advisors, a former president of Russia, has called Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania Russia's Baltic provinces. These are all NATO allies.
Yeah.
For 75 years, NATO has kept peace in Europe.
So not only for 75 years has NATO kept peace in Europe, and that is why alliances matter. And the organization of NATO is fabulous, and it produces peace, which is what I think everybody in this audience wants. But the idea that, Donald Trump wanted to break up NATO, that he felt NATO was a bad investment. He didn't want NATO to exist anymore. You remember that arrogant, he went to a NATO meeting and I guess it was the president or the prime minister of Montenegro, he pushed him out of the way and said, they're not paying their fair share and blah, blah. It's the best investment that we ever made was NATO, because there's no war in Europe. There has been no war in Europe until now. Until now. And this emboldening of Vladimir Putin, it's just, it's bizarro world, I mean, these are the Republicans. These are supposedly the Reagan Republicans that were so against, the evil empire. And now, the evilest one of the empire is trying to rebuild the evil empire back from Peter the Great's day. And, they were like, oh, let him have it. Let him have, we don't need peace in the world. We don't need it. I couldn't, for the life of me, I can't understand, what are their principles? What are their values? What are they protecting, or what are they, willing to protect? What do they think is, important for the world to move ahead and, see less war, less violence, less invading of your neighbors? What do they think it takes? Jim Jordan. I mean, these are their ideas, right? For leadership. Jim Jordan, he's a real leader. Kevin McCarthy, he's a real leader. I mean, these are their suggestions. Now, you know who they're going to suggest? I promise you on Monday, you'll start hearing about Byron Donalds from Florida. Yeah, Byron Donalds, because they wouldn't dare, have, people voting against, Tim Scott or a black man from Florida, right? So ridiculous. These are people that haven't accomplished anything. Nothing. And that's the whole point of why they're nominating who they're nominating. But anyway, Biden was like, Biden is a gem in that he has an institutional memory, not just of, post-World War II, Cold War era issues and how to solve them and how to keep the peace for nary 75 years, but he also has a working relationship of the leaders that predate the leaders now in all of these places in the world, because he's old. And there's something to be said for a man who has been active in the world for his entire adult life, who has accomplished a great deal, versus a man who is similarly old but hasn't accomplished jack crap except getting himself indicted for 91 felonies. Who settled every fraud case that's ever been brought against him, and there have been hundreds of them. From contractors in Atlantic City all the way to students at his, fraudulent university, to people that he still associates with losing their law licenses and being charged with felonies themselves, to, Steve Bannon, who he had to pardon, who's still on the air and still facing felony charges for stealing money from his own damn audience with the We Build the Wall scam. I mean, it's amazing that this is even a thing. But it is. And, I have to tell you, even Brit Hume yesterday, everybody on Fox was like, this was like the best speech that Biden has ever given.
I think it may be remembered as one of the best, if not the best, speeches of his presidency. He was firm, he was unequivocal, he was strong, as he has been, particularly in recent days before he went to Israel and while he was over there. I was struck by the fact that he spent as much time as he did on Ukraine, and I think it was a good thing that he did, because the aid for Ukraine package that he's talking about, and further aid to Ukraine beyond that, is in jeopardy. And I think that he was hampered a little bit in that effort by the fact that he dare not really mention the best reason. I mean, he mentioned, broadly speaking, the best reason for sticking with it in Ukraine, which is that what would the rest of the world and its evildoers think if we pulled out of there? Because that comes on the heels of his having pulled out of Afghanistan, which arguably emboldened all of our adversaries around the world.
Yeah, Your man, your Donald Trump, he's the one that pulled out of Afghanistan. We had 2,500 troops left in Afghanistan when Biden became president, and the Doha Agreement with a ticking time bomb, a ticking clock that said you have till X date to get out of there and get everything you want out of there. And, when Donald Trump signed the Doha Agreement, he did nothing to get anything out of there. Not people, not, allies, not translators, not people that worked with us at risk to their own families, to their own life and limb, not even equipment, nothing. And he did that on purpose so that he could then point and make himself the victim. Oh, look what Joe Biden did. I spent millions, billions of dollars on this, and yell at Milley and say Milley is the dumbest general he ever had because he now claims that Milley was telling him, leave it all behind. That's hysterical. It's so unbelievable that it's parody. It's satire. It can't be. Anyway. They thought that what Biden did last night was one of the best things that they'd ever heard Biden do. Isn't that special? Isn't that something?
American leadership is what holds the world together.
Yes, it is.
American alliances are what keep us, America, safe.
Yes.
American values are what make us a partner that other nations want to work with. Mm-hmm. To put all that at risk, if we walk away from Ukraine, if we turn our backs on Israel, it's just not worth it. That's why tomorrow I'm going to send to Congress an urgent budget request to fund America's national security needs, to support our critical partners, including Israel and Ukraine. It's a smart investment that's going to pay dividends for American security for generations. Help us keep American troops out of harm's way. Help us build a world that is safer, more peaceful, more prosperous for our children and grandchildren. In Israel, we must make sure that they have what they need to protect their people today and always. The security package I'm sending to Congress and asking Congress to do is an unprecedented commitment to Israel's security that will sharpen Israel's qualitative military edge, which we've committed to, the qualitative military edge. We're going to make sure Iron Dome continues to guard the skies over Israel. We're going to make sure other hostile actors in the region know that Israel is stronger than ever and prevent this conflict from spreading.
And I'm willing to do this even though Benjamin Netanyahu is a right-wing Likud party member. It's called bipartisanship, basically. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do, not because I agree with, But you know what I am doing? You know what he did do? Just so you know. He's got eyes and ears now in that war cabinet of Benjamin Netanyahu's because it's now a bipartisan war cabinet. You understand? It's a unity government that we insisted be put together before any of this could happen. So now we have the ability to at least influence the decisions that will affect us for the rest of our days on this planet.
RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All righty. 20 minutes after. So what do I got here? 3 more segments to beer, everybody. Three. Yeah, right, 3. Was that? That looked like 4.
The German 3.
Oh, really? Is that what that is? Because it was almost like, Orwell. It was almost like, 2 how many fingers am I holding up? 5. You have to say 5. Very weird. Ow! Robin?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, something's wrong with the phone. Sorry, can't do it. Anyway, this is, let me try this one here. Brother David?
Sister, 3 segments to beer.
3.
Listen, it is a flippin' feckless fascist Friday. I don't know where to look.
No, it's Free Friday. We got the hostages. Concentrate on the freedom.
That's true. It's Freedom Friday.
Breathe
yes, I stand corrected.
Smell the freedom.
He was beautiful last night, President Pop. And it is so nice to see an adult in the room with what's going on in Georgia. Not since the heyday of the Flying Walendas will so much flipping have gone on.
Huh.
And then there's happy birthday, she who must be protected at all costs, Madam Vice President.
Is it Kamala's birthday?
Yes, it is her birthday today.
You know whose birthday it is today, too? My sister, Ellen.
Oh.
Yeah, she would have been 69.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So how the time has flown.
Flies.
Fly, flew, flee. But as I said to the chat room, I'm probably going to endure 3.5 hours of Scorsese this weekend.
You are? You're going to do it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it.
Is it 3 hours or is it 4 hours?
3.5.
3.5. Oh my God. Now I will tell you this. I read the damn book. Okay. We're talking about the new Scorsese movie, Killers of the
Flower Moon. Yes.
It starts off really beautifully. I mean, the writing is lovely. It's very flowy and very descriptive, and you get immersed. And then it becomes extremely tedious. Okay. But I will tell you this. The Godfather by Mario Puzo was also a tedious read, and it was only good after you saw the movie. Although Brett says he likes that book.
I enjoy it.
Well, I have the same hopes for this one. Just because half my family is from Oklahoma and those days, and it's Scorsese! Exclamation point.
Right.
You got to be there.
Yeah, no, and it's DiCaprio, and it's
the great Lily Gladstone and De Niro.
Oh,
what more do I need?
Right. So
in a movie.
Well, I mean, my movie theater serves beer, so.
Then you're already ahead of the game, are you not, sister?
I don't know. I mean, a 3.5 hour movie, do you get a beer or do you not get a beer? Because if you get a beer, then you're kind of sleepy and you're never going to make it through the 3.5. Maybe you'll make it through 2. And with a tedious story that is about solving a murder mystery, okay?
Right.
You're going to have to pay attention to the details if you're going to get, like, really in, like you do with The Godfather. You have to get really in.
You have to pay attention, sure.
Yes, you do. So, no, I don't know if I'm ahead of the game with the beer.
Well, this is the lesson I learned from Oppenheimer. Don't drink until after the movie.
That's it.
There are still more of us, sister.
Brett, did you like Oppenheimer?
I did like Oppenheimer. I gotta be honest.
All right, so I have no regard for your
not
opinions
as much
anymore.
as I thought I was gonna like it. I gotta be honest. And I was expecting to see a lock Oscar across the board nominated film, and it wasn't that.
Barbie was.
You know what? I enjoyed Barbie. I left Barbie knowing that I was the problem. I knew that much when I left, but I also knew that I enjoyed myself.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That is the best way to put it. That was so great.
Beautiful. Still more of us. Gorgeous girdles for everyone.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you always.
Bye. All right, then, everybody. So, like I said, take a deep breath, smell the freedom. This is really, really, great news. Whether or not, Qatar is on our side of this whole I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think Pam in Utah wants to talk about our relations with the Qataris. I don't know, that I could reassure you, but Pam in Utah.
Yeah, I just wondered if we had any political leverage here in the United States.
Well, what do you regard as leverage?
Well, we give money to everybody.
Oh, like that. Well, listen, we allow their airlines to fly here, right? We let them advertise on our TV. People who see, like advertising for Qatar Airlines and stuff like that, and, want to visit Doha, we supply them with, an open sort of, go back and forth. And, but are they friends with Hamas? Yes, they're friends with Hamas.
Oh, I know that.
Right.
That's why I'm saying, do we have leverage that we can put pressure? Because they're running around free there. The leaders are.
Well, they might value this tourism dollar that, is something that they've been using to build their skyline off of, which is good and healthy. And they may, have lost all, regard for Hamas these days. I don't know. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, was Iraq an enemy of the United States or not? Well, he gassed his own people in Halabja, right, in the 80s, and we let him get away with that. And then he invaded Kuwait. We said, no, we can't let you get away with that. Then he, pulled out of Kuwait. Everything was done in 30 days, that first Gulf War. I forget how many days that was. It was so short that almost everybody forgot about it, except those of us who actually lived through it. And, everything was cool for a while. And then all of a sudden it wasn't, right? It wasn't cool. And we invaded them and killed 1 million of them. So I don't know.
Yeah. That's our history. I understand our history.
It's bad.
And I'm aware of it. But I'm concerned right now. It just wrenches my guts to think that the leaders of Hamas are running around with $3 billion in their pocket or their bank accounts.
How is that?
And they're not being held accountable.
How are they running around with $3 billion in their bank account?
Well, that's what I was told. I heard it on Tom Hartman that the one leader, I don't know the names, he is worth $3 billion.
Oh, but you made it seem like we paid Hamas. We don't give any money.
No. I'm meaning this guy is a wealthy man. He's running around. You pronounce it Qatar. I've heard it said Qatar.
And Qatar.
I don't know what the correct pronunciation is.
I don't either. I guess it depends on, are you British? Are you American? Do you say
but
potato?
He's in that country running around, and he's untouchable.
So I don't think there's just one guy. Okay, Hamas.
Well, no, it's not.
Here's the thing.
But there's
Hamas.
A few of them that are leaders there that are high up in the terrorist organization who are just seem to be scot-free.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't think so. They're under heavy, bombardment. Obviously, there's no food in there. There's no water in there. There's no fuel.
They're not in that country, though. They're not in Gaza. And they're not in Israel. They're in Qatar.
Oh, no. That's the ex-guy. You're talking about the ex-Hamas leader. Yes, he's in Qatar. Yes, he is. He's over there. And that's what I'm saying. The Qataris actually have Hamas in their country. And they provide them safety, and the ability to live. So, I don't know.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. 433, Bill in Arizona.
Hi, Randy.
Hey, Bill.
When I asked Mark Kelly if he'd consider running for the state Senate seat,
yeah,
you remember I told you he said he'd consider it. I'll only ask you. Would you please consider running for the state Senate seat, the Congress seat, currently held by Debbie Lesko?
Could I get elected in her district?
I'm a member of the 8th District. She's my congresswoman.
Could I get elected in that district?
Yes, I think you could.
Really?
I think you could.
Why do you think we have Debbie Lesko then?
Because she's got a beautiful smile and a nice figure. And Arizona's a hollow.
They're shallow. They're shallow?
They are very shallow.
Oh,
they are.
Really?
But your pretty smile, and forget about it. You knock everybody out with your words. And you're pretty.
Oh, you're so nice. Well, listen, I have a congresswoman here, and this is the district in which I live, and have lived for many, many years.
Florida's going to sink into the sand.
Florida. Oh,
come out.
Yeah, but it'll look just like Arizona then.
Come out here. We'll welcome you. You like it out here.
So what is the district? Like, where would I have to live?
I'm in Sun City. You've been here.
Sun City, I have
been.
I
give you a hug.
I know. Well, I it's like being in a giant blow dryer. I mean, it's so hot.
All right.
It's how do you do it? Why do you do it? Why?
Reverse blizzard, right? Yeah, everything you do in the cold weather, you do in the hot weather here. You do it in Florida just the same.
No.
You adapt.
No. You know
Randy,
something?
you adapt.
You want to know something? It was such a miserable summer here as far as heat and humidity and all that. And I know you're dry. I understand. But it was so miserable that I swear to you, my favorite thing to do on Friday nights, and everybody that knows me knows this is true, all I want to do is go outside in my own backyard and sit there and listen to music and drink a Corona. That's it. That's all I want out of life, okay? It's not complicated.
Nighttime's the right time in Arizona.
It is, I know, but it's been so brutal here and so hot that I haven't been outside the whole summer. And it finally cooled off this week. And so, but to go there where, if I were going to move and if I were going to live I would want someplace where it got 4 seasons. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. So the way I think about it is when the weather gets too hot to be here, go somewhere else. Nothing says you got to be
I
changed.
already have that problem, okay? I have that problem here. It's like everybody here is a snowbird. Nobody here is from here. Everybody, but I'm not rich. You know what I mean? I gave all that up for you.
You don't have to. I'm on Social Security, and I'm going to manage.
No, what I'm saying is I can't go someplace else. I used to be able to go someplace else, but I gave all that money up. I gave all that corporate stuff up, and I decided to do it this way. And you don't get
Randy, I love you.
don't get rich doing it this way. So wherever I am is where I need to be. I can't move. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like if I wanted to move, I'd have to sell my house. It used to be if I wanted to move, I could have 2 houses. I can't do that anymore. You know?
Just consider it.
No.
Bill, you convinced me. I'm on my way.
He talked me out of
Get
it.
the couch ready, Bill. No, I'm in. I love it.
You want to stay on his couch?
Whatever it takes. I'm
You
going.
know, see, that's possible. Okay, so then I can keep my house and I just move in with Bill. Is what I do. All right, Gabriella in L.A.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Hi. Before we talk about the topic, I want to make one suggestion. Have you tried getting naked in your backyard?
Did I what?
Have you tried getting naked in your backyard to cool off?
Oh, it doesn't cool you off. Naked, not naked, in the pool. I have a pool. You can go in the pool naked.
Oh, my God, that's even better.
Yeah, but it doesn't do anything. You come out of the pool, the freaking pool was 91 degrees. You understand? It's not even refreshing anymore. That's how hot it is.
Like your ocean out there, huh?
Yes, exactly. Of course. You think the pool is cooler than the ocean? Of course not.
No. Okay. I called because I haven't heard this talked about fully. My husband looked it up to give me an answer, and I would just love for you to break it down. I heard that there was a UN vote taken for a ceasefire, right?
Yeah, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, and the thing I'm listening or hearing about is that the reason the U.S. and a few other countries said no
I think it was just us.
I don't know. I know the UK abstained, and the only information my husband was able to find was part of the stipulation was that Israel could not defend themselves.
Right.
So what does that mean? Does that mean if everybody stops shooting and throwing rockets?
It means that the resolution that was introduced at the United Nations did not have in it Israel's self-defense. It didn't have in it Israel's right to self-defense after this terrorist activity. And, you know, I mean, I would love for everybody to turn the other cheek. That would be beautiful. It would be lovely. It would be fabulous. I mean, break the cycle of war. I mean, I'm all about it. But, you know, when you are part of when your country has been attacked in this manner, and you see, you know, babies being piled up on top of each other and set ablaze, and elderly people being taken hostage, etc., and you know that you need to retaliate, then, you know, I'm sure Israel asked the United States to please veto, because we're on the Security Council and they're not, to please veto this. And I think that's why we vetoed it.
Well, one of the things that concerns me, progressives, which I am one, but ones that I really respect, they're just whole hog going on this and other things, and they're trying to give Biden a black eye on what he's trying to do, and all he's trying to do is be fair to all sides and still respects Israel and what they've gone through and the fact that they want to be.
And I'm telling you, he also respects the Palestinian people.
He does.
Not the government of Gaza. The government of Gaza, separate and apart from the West Bank. These are two different places. I don't know how I'm going to get people to understand that the West Bank is over here and Gaza is over here. It's sort of like you're in LA, so you're on the West Coast, and I'm in Florida. I'm on the East Coast. Well, the West Bank is on the East Coast, and Gaza's on the West Coast. It's the best way I can explain it. They have two different governments. The government in the West Bank, which is way smaller, okay? Rather, the government in Gaza, which is way smaller than the West Bank, is terrorists. It's Hamas. That is the government. So Biden is saying that government's got to go. They're a bunch of terrorists. They terrorize their own people. They're cowards. They hide among the people. They use the people as human shields. And still, we're trying to say that civilians are civilians are civilians. and say that to Israel. We're trying to say to Israel, you have to understand that even though Hamas are cowards and they're terrorists and they're horrible and they will, immerse themselves in the civilian population, they will build tunnels underneath elementary schools, okay, because they're horrible, they're terrorists. We still have to respect the fact that the Palestinian people are being used by them and try and mitigate civilian casualties, even though, they're part of that place. And you got to respect him for that.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people. Hamas uses Palestinian civilians as human shields, and innocent Palestinian families are suffering greatly because of them. Meanwhile, Putin denies Ukraine has or ever had real statehood. He claims the Soviet Union created Ukraine. And just 2 weeks ago, he told the world that if the United States and our allies withdraw, and if the United States withdraw, our allies will as well, military support for Ukraine would have, quote, a week left to live, but we're not withdrawing.
I mean, obviously, we have a president who distinguishes between the terrorist government, and they are a terrorist organization, and they do live in Qatar. Some of the Hamas leaders, they do. And Qatar also, listen, here's how they play it. Because, okay, how do I say this? Foreign policy is very nuanced. Foreign policy is not, up or down. It's not yes or no. It's very gray areas. It's people cooperate when it's in their best interest to cooperate with us, and they don't cooperate with us when it's in their best interest not to, right? And Qatar is one of those wily, places. It's strategically located in an area, in a neighborhood where we like to have a military base. And we do have a military base there. They built it. They spent the money and they built that air base for us. And they allow us to use that air base as a autonomous extraterrestrial, or extraterritorial, not extraterrestrial. That would be Egypt, where the aliens built the pyramids. No, but extraterritorial air base, meaning it's not a Qatari place. When you're on the air base in Qatar, you're on American soil. If you were born at that air base, Al Udeid, I believe is what it is. If you were born in Al Udeid in Qatar, you would be an American citizen just for being born there. Remember that was like a big thing with John McCain, because John McCain was born in Panama, but he was born on an American Navy base, right? And so he was an American-born citizen. Well, it's the same with that base in Qatar. So when you ask me about leverage, yes, we have that base. That's leverage. But what does Qatar have? They have a relationship with terrorist organizations like Hamas. They have funded Hamas. They have funded the Islamic Brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood. They fund a lot of terrorist organizations. But what they sell to the United States as a reason not to lump them in with terrorist organizations, even though they'll allow a terrorist organization titular head to live in their country, they say, by doing this, we can play both sides. And when you need us to play on your side, we can do that. We can give you this air base. We'll be happy to build it for you, okay? And you can use it, and you can, say that this is American territory in Qatar. Isn't that wonderful? But we're going to keep our love for the Muslim Brotherhood, and we're going to keep funding Gaza, even though Egypt, has closed the southern border, even though Israel has closed the northern border. We're going to, load them up with money so that they can buy food and, fuel and everything else. But you're not going to stop us, because when you need us, we will be there for you too. This is how the game is played in very iffy places around the world. And so all the players assess the value of the person at the on the other side of the table. And they say, okay, this is the time we're in, And this is what the person on the other side of the table can offer. And even though we don't agree on so much, we agree on this one thing. And so if you could do for us the brokerage of getting American hostages out of a place where you do have relations, like Gaza, and, you know, of course, you have our base and, you know, you've done that for us, then we will consider you, you know, a friendly, not a friend, but a friendly. And we'll let you do it your way. You know, we'll let tourists go to your country and we'll say it's safe to go there because we believe it is. Do you know what I'm saying? So the world is not black and white. The world is not binary. The world is not yes or no. The world has many levels of play. The world is not checkers. As you know, you've heard people say the world is chess, or the world is 3D chess, or the world is 5-level chess, or it's, you know, it's not math, it's quantum physics. And that is true. It is true. The world is a nuanced place. And so as far as, you know, the UN, you know, veto, I believe we were the only country that vetoed that particular resolution. And the reason we gave was that it didn't recognize Israel's right to self-defense. Okay, that's the reason we gave. Miss Greenfield, who's, you know, awesome in her capacity as our UN representative, said that. But I have a feeling it was more like, in order to form a war cabinet with a unity government in Israel, in order to hone in on, you know, Netanyahu's iron fist and the way he governs in Israel, which most Israelis hate right now. Even though they're an ally, we hate their government now too. And the Israelis are not happy with their government either. In fact, there was a poll, the poll's been coming out since this terrorist attack. And right after the terrorist attack, almost everyone to a person in Israel blamed Netanyahu. Another poll came out today, and it says I told you, the poll that they did right after the terrorist attack, it asked for the people to rate him on a scale of 1 to 10, and his rating was 4.2. But of those people, those 42%, they gave him a 1. A 1. So half the country, a little less than half the country, gave him a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, so now we have another poll that came out, and 4 out of 5 Israelis believe that Netanyahu is responsible for the Hamas attacks. And so they don't like their government either. Just like we didn't like our government when we had, Mr. Fraud, Mr. Conman, Mr. I alone could fix it as our president. People were not happy in this country.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
That is incredible. And
it includes 69% of Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party, which is like MAGA. Okay, it's a ultra-Orthodox conservative party, and it is those members of Israel's population. It is those people, the ultra-right-wing. Like I said, when you think of Netanyahu, you have to think of Trump, and when you hear Likud, you have to think of ultra-MAGA, okay, because it's real similar, except that the ultras in Israel are ultra-Orthodox. And what they do is in the West Bank, where there isn't a terrorist government, there's the Palestinian Authority, who does recognize Israel's right to exist and isn't violent. The ultra-conservative Likud party members go to the West Bank and they kick Palestinians, ordinary Palestinians, out of their homes and take over their land. And that causes stress and tension that otherwise would not be present. And so it's nuanced, you see, but it doesn't mean you can't support Israel, who is a democracy in a very dangerous neighborhood. It just means that the leadership of Israel right now is really not the best Israel can do or has done or will do. But I think Biden did a little exchange here because that's what the world is. It's a deal making, and Donald Trump tried to sell you on the idea that he was the ultimate deal maker, but he's a failure. He's a fraud, and it's been proven 8,000 times. Everything he touches dies. Everything. And in fact, you want to know why we have normalized relations with Qatar? You know that uses their ability to negotiate as a calling card, even though they host Hamas, even though they fund Hamas in Gaza, is Jared Kushner. He did that. And the Saudis, they're not exactly pleased with all this, right? They did a blockade, remember, on Qatar? So it's complicated, is what I'm saying. But it's simple for us in that Israel is a democracy that will do better after this right-wing government is voted against, and it will be voted against because he split the country right down the ass crack with his destruction of the court system there and disempowering the Supreme Court because he's under indictment for fraud and bribery. So the country was divided to begin with, and now everybody feels like he was so into himself and his own predicament that he took his eye off of his calling card, which was, I will keep you safe. Donald Trump's was, I'm the greatest negotiator. Both of those things, both men, frauds. Complete frauds. And their countries, our country and Israel, they were not happy with this kind of leadership.